big things happen. And I think these are two of the most important things that will be really interesting going forward with the rest of the story. Of course, I'm not talking about Viserion being turned into a white dragon. That is something that's been spoiled for me for a really long time. It was pretty heart-wrenching to watch, but I'm sure there's plenty of conversation about that, and there's been a ton of debate about it leading up to this. And I can just tell you my own experience of watching the scene. Like I said, it's been spoiled for me. People have been posting that in the comments of my videos for close to a year now. And all the way up until the very last moment, I just sort of was fighting like, no, it's not really going to happen. It became clear that it was probably going to happen as people continued to comment things like, oh, the leaks are all real and everything else because things were lining up. But I didn't follow the leaks. Like I said, I got spoiled on a lot of it. And I made a video about my thoughts on the dragon because so many people kept talking about it. And my perspective at the time was, like I said, I just didn't believe it was going to happen. But anyways, it's a big event, but the repercussions of that are pretty clear. And in the end of the day, I think that this probably is something that George R.R. Martin told them about. I doubt it'll go down like this in the books, but it really just evens things up a bit. It's not a huge game changer beyond just the idea of it, I guess. Daenerys still has 2 dragons. Jon's probably going to become a dragon rider as well. And we'll talk more about that in the second thing that I think was really important. But the first thing was Tyrion's little speech to Daenerys about a line of succession. Now, it's long been debated that since the Iron Throne probably isn't going to be important in the end, that there may be a shift where a different kind of government is put in place. And most of those theories revolve around Tyrion's input in that process. So when he brought that up in the episode, it's a pretty big deal. The points he makes are valid. She goes into battle and she could die at any time. And as he pointed out, as she said, she isn't able to have children. He says that the Night's Watch has a way of choosing a successor, and so does the Ironborn, despite their many flaws. So he's talking about an election, more or less. Maybe not exactly how we do it nowadays in most of the civilized world, but it's a pretty interesting thought considering what this story is about. If you think about the big picture, the story's about all of the squabbling and craziness and insanity that people go through for this power to sit on the throne. And that's what leads a lot of people to look at it more as an unimportant ending to the book. Daenerys' talking about breaking the wheel is in contradiction with her regular line of succession. In that, she would have an heir, and then her heir would rule, and it would keep going like that for as long as they were able to stay there. The idea that Tyrion is putting out there is perhaps people will decide, and that truly will make the world a better place, which in the context of everything else is more of a sensible way for things to end up. Now, of course, no one may sit on the Iron Throne for a couple reasons, but in the end, I think this is something to think about. How do they go from here to where they end up? How do they get this society to let go of the idea that your name is everything and your family history is everything? We'll just have to see how that goes. Now, the second really big crazy thing, and these two things are probably more interesting to me because they were never spoiled by leaks because no one knew about them. But the second big thing was absolutely when Jon kills the White Walker and the other whites who are bound to it immediately fall. That was a big surprise because, like I said, no one had known that prior to this episode airing. And it's pretty big in the sense that if you kill the Night King, you have to imagine that that's going to pretty much decimate the entire army of the dead. Now, there's a lot of thought about how that all works. And up until this was revealed in the show, my thought was that Fire Whites and everything else aside, the Ice Whites, the ones we've known since the very beginning, they were basically all connected together. So the Night King raised them, or they were raised by that magic, and they all sort of functioned as one big organism with a very simple purpose. Like, that's the most practical way that I could think of, like, he can't think for all of them, so they don't think. They just do one thing, and they do it well. And they're bound to a hive mind or a collection, if you will. When we saw this happen, in the one sense, that would undermine everything. Like, you just have to kill one guy, and then the army falls. What I think we should all keep in mind going forward is that means that this guy must be much, much harder to kill than just walking up and stabbing him. Now, of course, people will go quickly into the comments and post, it has to be with Lightbringer. Azor Ahai has to temper his steel to create Lightbringer. Well, yeah, I mean, that's one possible scenario, that is a literal prophecy that'll come true exactly how it is. But it is like a thing, because this is going to end up shaping how they attack and approach this war throughout Season 8. They're going to be trying to take this guy out. They could take the other White Walkers out one by one, but they really will never be able to win unless they can kill him. So it makes it really interesting to me as to what he can do. Having a dragon is a big deal, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't like the idea of that happening, but like I said, it was a compelling scene, and it was interesting to watch, and definitely felt sad. And it will make for some great special effects whenever he rides, just like when Dany rides hers, and we'll eventually get some kind of a battle. But what's really a lot more interesting to me is how do they end up defeating this guy altogether? How do they take him off the map? Because that really will be the end of the war. We got some of a glimpse into a lot of stuff that could be foreshadowing his abilities. And I'll make another video about this week. That's what I've been thinking about the most, is what can he actually do? I mean, he threw a javelin, an ice javelin, like a dart into Viserion. Didn't seem like a one-off event, but it's pretty freaking interesting that he had those. He could have thrown those and killed everyone on that rock while they were stuck there, but instead he chose to wait, and he chose to wait for a period of time. The obvious idea is he, the whole time, was waiting for a dragon. And does that mean that he can foresee what's going on? Does that mean he has an equal ability to Brands? Or does it mean something else? One way or another, he probably sent out that little scouting party so that they could kill off the one White Walker, got the pieces on the chessboard where he wanted, and then he waited for a dragon to come into the picture and promptly removed it from the board. So I'm interested a lot in thinking about what he can do and how he can be defeated. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. One thing that's awesome at this point now is that we're beyond the leaks. I mean, we have an idea, I guess, of what is to come, but not in relation to any of this stuff because it hadn't been written at the time of that information being leaked out. So, all the people that annoyingly posted that crap all season long and all off season, this is our chance for those of us who haven't been talking about it to think about what's going to go on in the future. So give it a like if you enjoyed the video. Check back all this week because hopefully this next episode won't come out early and we'll be able to have proper amount of hype built up into the lead up of it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications if you haven't done that yet. Definitely tell me your thoughts in the comments. Follow me on Twitter. You can talk to me over there and my other social media accounts. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
There is only one war that matters.